David Ornstein drops a bomber on Semenyo, who will be available in January, and Bournemouth have no control over that as he has a 65 million release clause. And we know that Manchester United had dinner with this player. We know Ruben Amorim had dinner with this player, according to Duncan Castles. United have made bid for this bid. Man United have made a bid for Semenyo in the past. So could Manchester United be in that race for Semenyo? We're going to talk about that. Elliot Anderson, Conor Gallagher, all of the news stories around those players. But of course, Benjamin Cesco picked up an injury and is expected to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Not serious, but he's expected to be out for a bit. And that could be a big chance for Joshua Zirkzee. So in today's video, we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United news in a couple of minutes for you guys. So you're up to date on all the latest United news. Feel free to hit that like button and of course subscribe down below if you're new and you enjoy the content. Let's get into it. So it has been confirmed by Sky, Laurie Whitwell, and Sully obviously confirmed it a little bit earlier than that. The Cesco is going to be out for a month. Manchester United striker Benjamin Cesco is set to be sidelined for around a month with a knee injury. Now, Cesco picked up an injury in the game versus Tottenham. Some people thought he was faking the injury at the time because he missed a big chance, which is nuts. Because why would he come off and leave us with 10 men? Because he's embarrassed he missed a big chance. I don't know why people thought he was faking the injury. He picked up an injury. Not very nice, and he's going to be out for a month, which is such a shame because I think his confidence is a bit low, and I think getting an injury at this point in time isn't great, and I think that Cesco's a lot better than he gets credit for, but it is a huge chance for Joshua Zirkzee. He's not been given his chance. Now, I do wonder if Amorim's going to play Mount left 10 and Cunha striker, I don't know, but this is a huge chance for Joshua Zirkzee, as I said, who hasn't had many chances. And I think that, like with Zirkzee, I've always noticed with the Zirkzee, he does need a run of games. He's not at pre-season because of injury, and he needed a run of games last year to get going, and I felt like December time last year, he started to look quite good. Zirkzee, he got booed off versus Newcastle, then a month later, he looked in much better shape and looked good and was actually our best attacker the back end of last season, but Ahmad was injured. We'd sold Rashford by then, and he was only competing with Garnacho and Højlund. I do think there's a player in Zirkzee, and I do think there's a good player in Zirkzee, and there's a reason a lot of teams are looking at Zirkzee. I don't think he's fully fit, and the thing with Zirkzee is because he's not played any minutes at all, really. You know, can we throw him in and expect him to do 90? I'm not sure. You know, if Zirkzee had a few 30, 40-minute cameos here and there, it's different. But this is a big chance for Zirkzee to try and cement that position. I know he's not what Amorim sees in a number 9, and he's not Amorim's ideal type number 9. But I do like Zirkzee. I think there's a good player there. I think he will probably go out in January. But it'll be interesting to see if he plays Cunha 9 and Mount left 10, or maybe Bruno left 10 and puts Maino in a bit more in the midfield with Casemiro, or he decides to, you know what, I'm going to give Zirkzee a chance. I think he sees Zirkzee as more of a 10 than a 9, but we'll have to see. But this is a huge chance for Joshua Zirkzee, and I hope Cesco has a smooth recovery. Let's talk about the Semenyo news then. Bournemouth may be powerless to prevent Anton Semenyo's sale in January. Contract includes 65 million release clause available to all clubs, but must be triggered by set date so Bournemouth get time to replace. Applies again in the summer at a lower price. So, Bournemouth, what's going on with me today? I'm making no sense. It's the wine. The wine has gone to my head. Bournemouth, we all spoke about this the other day. Bournemouth, I was like, with the way Semenyo's been playing, if there's a release clause in it, Semenyo will be that release clause. But if there's not a release clause, Bournemouth will want 80, 90 million with the way Semenyo's been playing this season. Bournemouth can't demand 80, 90 million because they signed him off in a 65 million release clause, which I think is a pretty good price. Similar price to Cunha. He's been unbelievable this season. Basically, we could go in January and make a 65 million bid for Semenyo, and if Semenyo wants to come to us, then that deal is done. Now, Bournemouth are powerless unless he signs another new contract at Bournemouth, which I don't think he will. Semenyo is an Arsenal fan. The feeling is he could go to Arsenal. Arsenal need a left winger. That is his dream club. We also know that Liverpool need a winger with Luis Diaz gone, and there's talk of Liverpool leading the race for Semenyo. But Man United had, apparently, according to Duncan Castles, Ruben Amorim had dinner with Semenyo. Man United have strong interest in Semenyo, and United see him as a really good option. Now, the problem is, Semenyo can play left 10 and left wing back, but because we've got a lot of 10s, I don't think Man United will want to sign someone to play 10 in January. I think if Zirkzee is sold, maybe they go, oh, we've got 30 million for Zirkzee. Let's say we do sell him in January to Roma or somewhere. Let's go for Semenyo, who's a 10, but I guess you can say Zirkzee's a 10. I don't know if United would win the race for Semenyo. I think Semenyo's going to go to Arsenal or Liverpool. But look, I wasn't confident we'd win the race for Mbumo. I always felt that we were going to win the race with Cunha, but I wasn't confident we were going to win the race for Mbumo or Cesco, and we did win the race. But the question is, really, if we bid 65 million and Semenyo wants to move, Bournemouth can do nothing about it. I don't know if we want him enough to bid 65 million in January. I don't know if we want to spend that kind of money on another attacker, but we do like Semenyo. We did want him. The question is, would United drop that much money on Semenyo in January, knowing they need to spend 200 million in midfield? Maybe if some sales happened, maybe if Rashford, Højlund, Zirkzee was guaranteed exits, maybe. But I think with us not being in Europe and not having loads of games, I think it's something United would wait to do in the summer. But would Semenyo want to come to us? He actually said no to us in the end because he wasn't happy with the wage offer and signed the new deal at Bournemouth. Will Semenyo want to come to United? I'm not sure. But, I mean, look, Ornstein's dropped the Bomba. It's been confirmed there could be a 65 million deal for Semenyo in January. And that's going to be a big deal for whatever club lands their hand on him. And look, I wish it's us. And people often ask, like, why I big up Semenyo so much? This guy can play left wing back, right 10, left 10. He's pure pace, he's pure power. He's an elite ball carrier. He's playing a deeper role for Bournemouth this season, and he's carrying the ball on the left-hand side. His shot power is insane. Ruben Amorim likes athletes, and he's a pure athlete, pure intensity. And if you look at the way we play under Amorim, our best games have been when we send a nice amount of intensity from the squad. When we're playing at a good intensity, a high intensity, those are our best games, and Semenyo brings a good level of intensity. Same with people like Elliot Anderson, which is why Semenyo, Baleba, and I know Baleba's been poor this season, Elliot Anderson are like my free dream signings because they bring a different level of intensity. Now, talking of Elliot Anderson, and I did touch upon this in my live stream earlier, Manchester United and Newcastle are the two clubs with a strong interest in Anderson, and Forest will not consider a sale under any circumstances in January. It looks like it will be a race in the summer for Anderson. The idea I'm getting is that Manchester United, probably Tottenham and Newcastle, will be the three clubs most interested in Anderson in the summer. Obviously, he's a Newcastle boy, so they might have an advantage there. But United will be in for Elliot Anderson in the summer. I don't think it's going to happen in January. I think we want Anderson and Baleba in the summer, which is why Semenyo for 65 million is great. But I don't know if we'll go for him because I think it is Anderson and Baleba as the priority in January. And last but not least, I'm going to get into the Conor Gallagher news. Reports linking Conor Gallagher to Manchester United are inaccurate. Atleti are not pursuing a sale and have no desire for a loan. The player would also prefer to stay. So there's been a lot of links to United, like João Gomez this, Baleba this, Elliot Anderson this, and I've always said, okay, but then there's also been some Conor Gallagher loan links. I've always felt if a deal was going to happen, it would have probably been something like Conor Gallagher on loan. But apparently not, according to Sean Connolly, who I think is actually a decent source of information, and I think he's quite credible. Look, I don't know what's going to happen in January. I mean, you never know. We might do nothing in January. We might bring in Semenyo in January. We might pull off a miracle for Baleba in January. We might get João Gomez. We might sign a striker. We might sign a wing back. I honestly, to be honest, have no idea what we're going to do in January, if I was going to be totally honest. But I think if we can get a midfielder, we will. And I think if we get a midfielder, we could let Maino go. And I think if we get an attacker, we could let Zirkzee go. It'll be interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching today's 8-minute roundup. See you next time. Bye.